Oscar Wilde, born in October 1854 and died in November 19, was an Irish writer and poet. After writing in different forms through the 1880s, he became one of the London's most popular playwrights in the early 1890s. Today, he is remembered for his epigrams, his novel The Picture of Dorian Gray, his plays, and the circumstances of his imprisonment and early death. Wilde's parents were Anglo-Irish intellectuals. Their son became fluent in French and German early in life. At university, Wilde read Greece. He proved himself to be an outstanding classicist, first at Dublin, then at Oxford. He became known for his involvement in the rising philosophy of aestheticism. After university, Wilde moved to London in fashionable cultural and social circles. As a spokesman for the aestheticism, he tried his hand at various literary activities. He published a book of poems, lectured in the United States and Canada, and then returned to London, where he worked as a journalist. Known for his biting wit, flamboyant dress, and glittering conversation, Wilde became one of the most best-known personalities of his day. At the height of his fame and success, while his masterpiece, The Importance of Being Earnest, was still on stage in London, Wilde had the Marquis of Queensberry prosecuted for libel. The Marquis was the father of Wilde's lover, Lord Arthur Douglas. The charge carried a penalty of up to 2 years in prison. In 1897, in prison, he wrote De Profundis, which was published in 1905. A long letter which discusses his spiritual journey through his trials, forming a dark counterpoint to his early philosophy of pleasures. Upon his release, he left immediately for France, never to return to Ireland or Britain. There, he wrote his last work, The Ballad of Reading Gaol, a long poem commemorating the harsh rites of prison life. He died destitute in Paris at the age of 46. He wrote The Picture of Dorian Gray in an important historical moment, the Victorian Age. This era was complex and contradictory. On one side was progressive, in fact there were great social reforms, but on the other was characterized by poverty, injustice, and social problems. This period really influenced the literature, making the novel a mirror of the society. For the first time, a type of literature which also included the middle class. This masterpiece talks about Dorian Gray, a very charming and nice man. His beauty captivates an artist, Basil Hallward, who one evening paints Dorian in his office. Here the story begins. In the office, Dorian meets the cynical and charismatic Lord Harry Wotton, who reveals him the sense of the beauty, which is the greatest thing in the world. It's amazing, but even temporary, and thus exhorts him to live his youth intensely. Driven by the words of Wotton, Dorian gives all of himself to the research of the unbridled passions and pleasures. Dorian does not tolerate to age, while the image of his friend Basil will not change. There are several differences between the book and the movie. In the book, Basil paints Dorian Gray in several portraits, and then Lord Wotton sees him. After that, absolutely wants to know the young man, even if the artist does not want to introduce him. By a coincidence, however, Dorian enters in the studio of the painter just as Lord Wotton is inside. Instead, in the film, Basil introduced Dorian to Lord Harry, and later he painted only one portrait. In the book, Dorian falls in love with Sybil Vane after seeing her play different roles in the theatre. He falls in love then of her heart. In the film, however, Dorian has a love at first sight for Sybil after seeing her at an inn, and only later in the theatre. In the book, when Dorian reveals his feeling to Sybil, she cannot longer act with the same emphasis than before, losing the art that made her so special. Dorian, disappointed, broke with her, and Sybil, for the bitterness, killed herself. In the film, the two fall in love. Dorian promises to Sybil wedding, and also they spend a night of passion. A few days later, manipulated by Lord Henry, Dorian is taken to a brothel where he let himself go. After this experience, he realized that he no longer wants to sacrifice his life in a marriage, and he decided to dedicate all his life to the passions. Thus, he said to Sibyl that they are time to become a family. Sibyl is pregnant, but Dorian doesn't know. She realized that she has been cheated and that his beloved has changed. Desperate, she threw herself into a river where she drowns. In the film, just to convince Basil not to think about the picture, Dorian kisses him and Basil returns the kiss. This absolutely does not happen in the book.